For those who competed decades ago, speeding down highways, through towns, country roads. For those who sat watching on the sides of the street, who found solace in chaos and thunderous speed. Even for those who grew up without the sights and the sounds, and live without race cars shaking the ground. Who don't understand why racing appeals to our fascination, wonder, and the way that we feel. A purpose-built place to camp and spend time with friends, watching racing together until darkness descends. Though no longer do the streets rumble and roar, there's a place just for this, a park to explore.
A road racing circuit before the assault. The 4 twisting, beautiful miles at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. For 6 brutal, ear-shattering hours, its serenity will be violated by the raw power of screaming racing machines. It's the famed end-of-season endurance classic, the Road America 500. The specially constructed race circuit at Elkhart Lake at normal speed is a scenic 4-mile drive through fall-tinted Wisconsin countryside.
Hidden by forests near Elkhart Lake, not a path nor a trail, but a road meant to race. In a town too quiet, the refuge we seek, Road America, the racetrack, the National Park of Speed.
He's barely going to keep it on the racing surface.
I don't know that we'll see a pass here as they go.
A deep dive on the brakes. Here comes the 680 to the inside.
By 7 on the second. I can't believe what we just saw.
A beautiful road winds through the cinnamon summer countryside in rural Wisconsin. It's a purpose-built road, one born out of necessity to move the nearby town's racing habits to a safer place. In 1955, this road was paved with the sole intention of being the place to race. In the heart of the country, they called it Road America. And how fitting that name is. For Formula I's first round of the season, they'll tackle the 4-mile ribbon of asphalt known as the National Park of Speed, bringing with it a brand new era on SYM TV. Formula 3, Formula 1, Formula I. Welcome to SYM TV. My name's Kyle. I are joined tonight by Finney and Dakuna as we begin a new round of open wheel racing on SYM TV. The first time ever that we've had both the F3 and Formula 1 cars featured on this network. It all begins with a 30-minute F3 race, and then we'll head on over to the Formula 1 qualifying sessions at noon, and I'll wrap it up with our Formula 1 United States Grand Prix this afternoon at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin's Road America. 4 miles out here, Finian. It is a beautiful racetrack. We love coming here to Road America. 14 turns, twists, turns, elevation change, through the trees, through the cake, up to Kettle Bottoms. It's a beautiful sight to behold, and we're qualifying right now for Formula 3.
Yeah, I would say really there's not many better venues you can pick than to start the opening round of an international series. I'm really looking forward to not just this race and how it's going to perform, but the rest of the calendar as well, because we are quite literally going all over the globe to many different and great racing facilities all across the world. But as you see here at Road America, for the first of 2 races, we're here with the Elara F3 car, and really looking forward to seeing a race on our network, as we were saying, with this machinery, because especially for me too, I've been gravitating more to the open wheel side of things in recent years, and especially I just absolutely love the way the F3 car races.
This is a really fun car. It's also featuring iRacing's new tire and new damage model, which the Formula One car does not have, but it's going to be very exciting regardless. So Formula I, again, a league that's been around for a little while, but this will be the first time that they've had a live stream, and it's right here on SYM TV. So thanks for joining us. If you're new here to SYM TV, make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure that you don't miss anything this season. If you want to watch live timing and scoring, you can do so at our website. We'll have the link for you here in just a moment. But qualifying underway, and on the left-hand side of the screen, you're going to see the times of the fastest drivers once they come on through. But it is a long lap around here, which is going to be just under 2 minutes long for the fastest drivers. About a 1:58 is the first time that's going to go up on the board here, Finian. But once, as I mentioned, the live timing and scoring available at simtvbroadcasting.com/timing, so you can follow along in real time with the different teams. You'll also notice that the colors on the timing and scoring, there are 2 of each. And that is because we have 2 driver teams both in the F3 series and the F1 series, which means that just like Formula 1 and Formula 2 and Formula 3, we've got distinct teams of cars that you're going to see throughout the timing and scoring. So very exciting to have that sort of layout and format here on SYM TV for the first time ever. We want to take a moment to thank both Redenzo and Lazy Rocket Vinyl for coming on board to sponsor SYM TV this season. Of course, Redenzo offering premium radar detectors. You can check them out at redenzo.com, and trust me, they sent us one of those things. If you road trip a lot, you're going to want one of those things for your car. Even if it gets you out of 1 ticket, it's worth having. And of course, Lazy Rocket providing excellent stickers, vinyls, full vehicle liveries, whatever you can find a use for vinyl for, they can do it for you. So we'll head down to the racetrack here as qualifying is about 4 minutes away from being complete. And I mentioned the different team liveries here. You can see there's Roger Percelli in the number 6 car here, Finian. He's got the orange livery, and on the timing and scoring, he's bright orange. So he's going to get outrun by Colin Black in the number 11, the 7th place car now as he comes across the line, the white livery vehicle. That, I believe, is one of the MJCB racing cars. So again, we're getting used to all the names and the teams and the numbers, so bear with us for the first couple rounds. I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot of names that are pronounced very, very incorrectly here, Finian, but you've got the answer key to all my questions, and hopefully you can help me out as we make our way through this qualifying session and into the race.
Yeah, and also big shout out to the drivers that did send it in. I think we got over 30 responses to a little form we sent out to try to make sure that we butcher drivers' names as little as possible for this race. So we'll do our best job here for this round. It's looking at Daniel Florea in the 20 car, currently putting a lap down. And still a lot of drivers yet to put a time down, and they're kind of starting to run out of time. You really only get one more flying lap when you get back to the line.
Yeah, again, it's not a lot of opportunity to throw down quick laps, and that's going to be very important in the F1 qualifying sessions later. We will be doing 3-round knockout style qualifying, which is the first time we've ever done that here on SYM TV. And this is a tricky place to do it because of how long the lap is. It's hard to time things just right. So as we come through into the kink here, one of the fastest sections on the racetrack, pretty much flat out in both these cars today, but it doesn't make it any less scary. Zach Booth in the number 2 car is going to go up to 3rd place, and he's one of the, taking a look here at the team, that's going to be CNC Racing in the number 2 car. He's got a teammate out there somewhere. That'll be Dave Merritt, which I don't know if he's actually here this afternoon. A lot of drivers competing in the Spa 24 Hours. Going to be probably a lot of drivers missing because of that. But normally we'd have a full 30-plus car grid. We've got just over 20 this afternoon.
Yeah, and these drivers are given drop weeks to work with the championship as most iRacing series. So I think a lot of drivers are taking that drop week in the first round just so they can run the Spot 24 Hours, which from what I've heard, I think has gone on pretty well. I don't think they've had any major hiccups.
Well, so far so good. There's Juho Peltomaki in the number 82. That is one of the MPH Racing cars. He does have a teammate out there today, and look at that. They are 1st and 2nd. So MPH Racing so far has a stranglehold on the front row of the grid as we have just about 2 minutes left in qualifying. He might get one more lap here. Again, it's open qualifying, so he will get one more lap. Flying laps will count. A couple drivers have not yet laid down times. John Watson, one of those drivers, in the number 21. That is one of the TNT Racing cars. Got teammate Scott Hensley. Watson from England and Hensley from the United States. And that's one of the other cool things is how international these teams really are. If you take a look here, Watson again from the UK club. A lot of international teams and crews. Going to be a lot of fun to watch. A truly international world championship right here on SYM TV.
Yeah, it's crazy considering in Europe right now, a lot of the guys are getting ready for dinner. But for us, it's pretty much just before noon in the middle of the day. There are quite a few American drivers in the series as well, so I was just saying, really international effort here as you're seeing qualifying starting to wrap up. Don't really see anyone that's going to try to take the pole position away from Juho Peltomäki in the 82 car, except really his teammate, who's even still 3/10 behind him.
Well, Sebastian Jackson in the number 87, he is one of the Volante Racing cars. His teammate, Sam, who's from the Netherlands, is not here. Will be participating in the spot 24, so it'll just be a one-car effort for Volante Racing. That is the blue on the timing and scoring there. And once more, as I mentioned, you can head to simtvbroadcasting.com/timing to get everything in real time up to date, so you can follow along with your favorite teams and or drivers as we finish up qualifying. So Sebastian Jackson pulling off to the side of the racetrack. Vincent Olivier Barron in the 37 car is third. That is one of the Ukamuni Racing cars. Got teammate Martin Hansen out of Denmark back in fifth. And it's interesting to note how many teams are really right next to each other in the timing and scoring. Really, Zach Booth, the lone CNC Racing car up there inside the top 10, but all the other teams seem to be pretty close together.
Yeah, and again, that's also the beauty of this car, too. There's a decent amount you can change, but also it really just comes down to the driver. That's kind of the whole point of this category racing, is to make it, give an equal playing field for the other drivers to play and really show their talents. As qualifying about to end here, and drivers have one more. If you've started a lap, you can finish it, and we'll see here if anyone can try to upset the order.
This might just be me going crazy, but is this the first time the checkered flag has ever worked in spectator mode? Or has it always worked in qualifying? I've never really checked.
I think it has, but it's kind of awkward. Like, some tracks work, some tracks don't.
Interesting. Well, Road America is one of the ones that works, apparently. So, Juho Peltomäki is going to be the pole sitter right now, unless somebody else can beat him, and there's only a few drivers left on tracks that can do it. Brandon Fiorante in the number 102. He's coming around the final corner. That 102 car for Fiorante is going to be, looking down the order, one of the Blaine Canada Racing cars, so he's going to hit pit lane and call it a day back in 12th. Powell Okerglecki. That's not how you pronounce that name. Again, we're really getting... Go ahead.
Okergrecki.
Okergrecki. That's not how that word looks like it should be pronounced, but again, we're just learning here as we make it through the first round. It's going to be a struggle for the first 2 or 3 weeks until we get this all sorted out. But Pavel's going to come out of the final corner down in 21st right now. The last driver on the racetrack has not yet laid a time down. This is going to be his only one as he comes across the start-finish line. Going to be a 2:06.42. That will be good enough to put him 17th, so maybe not quite as much as he wanted there. But that is the last driver out there on the racetrack right now, so it'll be Juho Peltomäki and the entire crew of MPH Racing on the front row here in the F3 Championship for Formula I. Take a look at the weather here this afternoon. 67 in the air, 68 on the racetrack. And Finian, why don't we go through a lap here at Road America so we can get a look at what the racetrack looks like before we turn them loose here for 30 minutes. Down into turn number 1. It's a pretty intense speed climb up in the 150, 160 mile an hour range. Big draft up the long front straightaway into the first corner, then slamming on the binders down to maybe 4th, maybe 5th gear, depending on which car you're in here this afternoon. Then down to turn number 3, hard right-hander onto a long back straightaway that leads into turn 5, one of the best passing opportunities on this track.
Yeah, we started watching the sprint race that these guys had earlier on, and there was a bit of a crash down there. Obviously, it was their kind of sprint race, so I think they're going to be a little bit more cautious heading down into turn 5, lap 1 this time through, then through turn 6 and 7. Very tight corners. A lot of incidents happen there from guys just getting off the track a little bit, then down into turn 8, and then rounding turn 9, the carousel. The
carousel, a long sweeping right-hand corner. Gonna hope you have the downforce cranked in these cars. It is open setup in this series. Then the run down to turn number 11, the kink, and every other race car. It's a terrifying ride through there, and these, you got a lot of downforce to work with, so it's not going to be quite as scary, but it will be just as fast. Then the run down through Kettle Bottoms into Canada Corner, right-hander up through turn 13 and 14 to finish out the lap here at Road America. So with that, we're going to head down to the racetrack now and turn them loose for 30 minutes of racing in the Formula I F3 Championship. And we'll have a look through our grid here, Finian. So on the front row this evening, it's going to be the the Juho Peltomäki car. That is, again, is the MPH Racing team that are sweeping the front row. And then you see back behind him, Vincent Olivier Barron and Martin Hansen. They are back in 3rd and 5th. So they'll be lining up nose to tail here in the Fukamuni Racing cars out of Denmark and France for those two.
Yeah, Fukamuni Racing, MPH Racing really taking 4 of the top 6 spots. So looking to be the more dominant teams, at least in this first round here at Road America. We'll see how they play out again with MPH Racing taking the first 2 spots on the grid, looking really strong on the guys to beat.
And looking back in row number 4 through 6 here, it's going to be Nicholas Shepard and John Watson, 7th and 8th. Shepard going to be coming to us, looks like, out of the team OWSR. That's out of the U.S. for Nicholas Shepard. Then John Watson, who we already mentioned, coming from TNT Racing. A couple more drivers running out these drivers. We've got to get through the rest of the grid here. Again, I'm just struggling with the names, and we'll get these all sorted out the next couple weeks. Colin Black, Sebastian Jackson, the Lone Volante Racing Team car this afternoon. Daniel Floria, then Enzo Seta in the 16th place position. Down through the rest of the order. We got a lot of team cars lined up near each other. Scott Hensley separated from his teammate by just a little bit, but with that grid sorted, we'll head down to the race here for 30 minutes of action in the Formula I F3 Championship. We're about to turn them loose. 30 minutes. Here we go. Formula I F3 Championship on SYM TV. With the MPH Racing cars out front, green flag flies in, we're racing at the National Park of Speed. In the rundown to turn 1, already double file, gonna look 3 wide. The 19 car poking out to driver's right as they head down to turn 1. That's Nicholas Shepard in the black and red car. Down into the first corner, side by side for first, but they're gonna sort it out. Peltomaki takes the lead through turn number 1. So far, so good. The dirt kicking up the corner, exit car spun around the background. It's Jonathan Diggs and Enzo Haiseta. He's spun around and he's got damage to the right rear of that car. He's gonna get it turned back around and headed towards turn number 3. 1 car spun, but everyone else gets free and clear and away.
He's got a big hill to climb now, being all the way back there. Looks like, fortunately, he didn't get too much damage. I thought he damaged wheel, but it looks like he's good. Meanwhile, the MPH Racing guys up in front, side by side for the lead. I thought they'd be single file and play it calm, but so far going for the position.
Down into turn number 5, and here comes Vincent Olivier Barron to the outside, and behind him his teammate to the inside of Zach Booth. That's for 4th. Can't quite complete that pass. Behind him still, there's Nicholas Shepard, the number 19, Roger Pertelli in the number 6, then John Watson right behind him. He's a little bit wide through turn number 6.
Yeah, looks like a fairly orderly start. Not a whole lot of chaos down into turn 5. Guys trying to make a move, but again, MPH Racing up in the front. 1-2. Barron trying to make a move on the leaders, but can't quite get it done.
Danny O'Keefe to the inside of that's Colin Black and Danny O'Keefe side by side through the carousel. Daniel Florea behind them. Graham Lughead and Nathan Foes around in the carousel. He's looped it in the number 3 car.
And he just got loose, running through there at such a high rate of speed, just forcing the car. So unfortunate for him, he's going to still continue on, however.
Zach Booth and Martin Hansen side by side into Canada corner. Hansen's going to have the inside line. A little bit of dirt kicked up from the dirty apex there. Side by side as they climb the hill, almost touching as they climb up behind him. More trouble. Danny O'Keefe is in trouble. And Atish Dabising also slow through the corner, but Colin Black has also looped it. So what has happened to some of these drivers, Colin Black included, came down into Canada corner here, Finney, and here's a look at the replay. Black was all by himself, it looked like. Was there a touch?
I think there was. Looking right there, gets very deep on the brakes, too late, misses braking mark, and around goes the 11.
Yeah, that was Danny O'Keefe that got in there a little bit too hot. Jumping back live now, Colin Black is off in turn number 14, so a troublesome start for Black as he's put in the barrier as well.
Up in front with our leaders, going back to them. Barron was able to get second place away from Makilla after he went off a little bit through the kink. And again, very important corner. These guys are going next to full throttle through there, and I think just a little bit of dirty air caught Makilla off guard. But Barron now looking to try to take the lead.
Roger Percelli's gone around in the number 6 car in the background. He's spun all the way down to 18th for the lead. Here comes Vincent Olivier Barron to the inside into turn number 5, late on the brakes. Outbraking the race leader, Juho Peltomaki. He's through and clear. The 37 car to the top spot from Fukamuni Racing behind them. That is the MPH Racing car that has lost the top spot, and the juggernauts of what I thought would be the race leader, they've dipped away. Scott Hensley has looped it down in turn number 5.
And a lot of spins early on with these drivers, and I think it's only going to get worse for them as they continue to spin. It's going to build up heat in the tires. It's going to be harder and harder to deal with.
So Vincent Olivier Barron, a really strong start in the team car for Fukamuni Racing. Zach Booth, who started up in 4th, has dropped 3 spots down to 7th, and now has a good battle here with Martin Hansen in front, Fiorante behind, as well as Larson.
Funny funny talking about Martin Hansen. They actually made a contact heading up to the final corner between those two cars. They both drive down the order. You see very close battle racing there with that red car.
That's Frederick Larson, I believe, or is that Fiorante in the 102? It is Fiorante in the 102 car. He's going to go around the outside, try to hang on there. Can't quite hang on. They're going to touch it, corner exit, and Larson goes through in the number 22. Again, Larson out of Denmark in the legendary racing car. He was teammates with Danny O'Keefe, who had trouble down in Canada Corner a couple laps ago. As up front, side by side for the race lead again, Peltomaki and Olivier Barron, nose to tail, and Peltomaki takes the lead back on the front straightaway.
And Barron's going to be a thorn in Peltomaki's side the entire race here. He's trying to take the lead away and win for his team. Again, also curious to see if we can maybe see Hansen, his teammate Fukumuni Racing car, also get up there as he's in the back in 6th midfield. You have to wonder if the MPH Racing cars will be able to team up on Olivier Barron as they head through turn number 2 and 3 here and head all the way down to 5. They have a huge lead, 4.7 seconds over 4th place John Watson, who's got his hands full, but for the race lead again, Barron gonna sweep down to driver's left, hard on the brakes into turn number 5, and gonna retake the race lead, but it slips wide at corner exit, and Peltomaki drilled the inside curb and is not gonna be able to carry the speed on corner exit. Behind them, here's Sebastian Jackson on the outside of Fiorante. This is down into turn number 5. Jackson started 14th, he's up to 9th, and looking for 8th on the 87 of Fiorante, or excuse me, the 102 of Fiorante. One of the Flame Canada Racing cars up ahead. So this is a great climb forward for Jackson, as you're saying, from 14th to 8th position. We're going to see if he can get ahead, and we also got, again, Zach Booth. I'm trying to look and see. He does have some damage to the wing of that car. Peltomaki has slipped back to 2nd again with that incident in turn number 5, but Barron has the race lead, and so far today has led no laps yet. It's all been belonging to Peltomaki as he goes sweeping back to the driver's right. An excellent race for the top spot so far here in Formula I F3 Championship, and Peltomaki going to take the lead back in Canada Corner. Barron's going to slip back to 2nd, and Sebastian Jackson and Fiorante are not done battling for 8th place just yet. Yeah, and again, it's really hard to break away at a track like this. You know, these cars typically drive very, very well down the straightaways, and that's a bit of an annoyance if you're the leading car, because you're pretty much sitting duck to everyone else in behind you trying to get a draft and make a pass on you. So they've settled that. Meanwhile, for the race lead, nothing is settled. They're going to come across the finish line side by side. 3 laps complete out of approximately 16, 24 minutes to go, and Barron's got driver's right in the Fukumuni Racing car. MPH Racing team lined up on the outside into the first corner, 130 plus miles an hour, and still side by side on corner exit. They are not willing to give it up just yet. 3 laps in. He's not giving this up without a fight. He's got to settle back in behind, but now Barron going to get a nice run down this middle straightaway. I'm curious to see if he's going to try something different here, because he's able to get Peltomaki on this middle straightaway, but then loses it on the back straight. And actually, here comes the team of the MPH Racing cars. Makilla in the 12 car going to go from 3rd, trying to go up to 2nd. Here he's going to go to the inside, and a deep dive from Barron.
Way deep. He's into the gravel trap, just totally overshot turn number 5, and the battle for the lead is going to be over as he comes out of turn number 5. A big dive on the brakes that did not pay off for him. Might have been distracted. There was a lap car in front of him, and that's all it took. Meanwhile, we saw Frederick Larson. He has hit pit lane. Not sure if that was for damage repair or what else, but he's going to come back out on the racetrack in 16th place. Now it's the MPH Racing cars out up front. Let's go back and have a look at the big dive on the brakes. It was a brave move, but just too late, too far here. Yeah, I'm actually really surprised he went for that move. There's just no way that he was going to make the corner. I think he's let his nerves get to him, so he's going to drop out of the lead, and essentially MPH Racing is going to be 1-2 and have a solid lead to boot with that. Brennan Fiorante out of Canada, a mistake in turn number 8. He's going to drop down a couple spots. Barron going to lose 3rd now to John Watson, and he's not going to be done fighting him just yet. Side by side as they run down to Canada Corner. John Watson, again, we've mentioned him. Mike Watson is out of England in the TNT Racing car. John Watson, however, looking up the order. I'm trying to find where he is on my team sheet here. Hang on, I'll help you out. John Watson, TNT Racing. Nope, that's Mike Watson. Yep. There's a John Watson out here. Well, that's a bit odd. Well, he's in a TNT Racing car, so one can only imagine that it is Mike in John's car. But down to the inside. To the inside goes Vincent Olivier Barron, and right in front of him is 19 and Nicholas Shepard. So Shepard has split the difference between these two. Peltomaki and Aquila up front, the MPH Racing Team cars, they have 7 seconds on the next car down. So my thought now is, what's the plan here? I mean, you just want to run nose to tail, or do you want to swap the lead out a couple times and kind of do the tango up front, try to build that gap, or are you just content running how you are?
I think, honestly, I wouldn't change a thing. These guys are running at a really fervent pace. I don't really think all the guys in behind can try to catch up to them. Ooh, he got a damaged car.
Jonathan Diggs from Diggs Motorsports out of turn number 3, I think this is. Let's go back and have a look here. Looks like he might have just spun all by himself, but was there help maybe? There is the 35 car. That is the other Blaine Canada racing machine there. The 35 driven by Graham Lugehead in the red car. Let's have another look. Just gets in there a little hot, locks up, gets the grass on the outside, and tries to throttle back up and spins around. And just gets clipped by, I believe that was the 15 of Danny O'Keefe. We're going to escape with like fairly minimal damage. Check O'Keefe's car. It looks like any touch that he had was minor. Let's keep all the aero bits on that car. Back to 7th place. Here's Sebastian Jackson to the inside of Zach Booth through Kettle Bottoms at over 150 miles an hour. And right behind Martin Hansen.
Whoa. And another great battle going on for 3rd place behind Olivier Barron, Watson, and Shepard. I believe it was Shepard that just got into the dirt in Canada corner. He went out wide, almost wrecked the thing, but is going to keep it still going in the right direction.
Jumping back to Sebastian Jackson and Zach Booth through the final corner. Now Booth started up inside the top 5, and you see him run wide again, just struggling. Oh, he's going to lose it, and he's going to get the barrier. Yes, he's going to knock the front wing of that car almost clear off, and just gets in the gravel, and he'll have to hit pit lane to service that car, but
yeah,
it's the slightest of mistakes.
I was just going to say, too, that he had damage to that car after an earlier incident with Watson. And I was going to say that he's struggling with the downforce on that car. It's definitely going to affect him. We saw it happen right there. See another battle.
Pavel Grglecki in the 9th place 17 car after starting back in 17th. That's the Sim Forge Racing car. Teammate Patrick Broda, I don't believe, is here today. So just the lone 17 car from Sim Forge Racing. Up in front, you see Sebastian Jackson running door to door, or I should say wheel to wheel with Martin Hansen. He's through to 6th, and 14th to 6th for Sebastian Jackson. And the Volante Racing team, I imagine, will be very strong once they have both team cars here.
Yeah, here you see now also Fioranti trying to charge it up the inside of Hansen. Hansen and also struggling with some front wing damage of his own, and just struggling to hold off that Ferrari themed car in behind him.
So we've had just one retirement so far. Nathan Foe in the number 3. Scott Hensley is off track at the moment, 2 laps down. Everyone else is still running on the racetrack. The Team MPH car are still leading by 7 seconds over Vincent Olivier Barron in the 37 from the Fukumuni Racing team. Then John Watson for TNT Racing is back in 4th, and Nicholas Shepard in the 19 car.
Try to chuck it up the inside of him in Canada corner. Was able to get the pass down, looking at Fioranti now trying to do the same pass as well, heading to Canada corner. Another great passing opportunity on this track.
Martin Hansen going to go defensive here and hang on. Fioranti's a little bit wide. Here comes Grglecki through and clear for 8th place to move the 17 up to P8. And talking about the points championship, for Makila and Peltomaki, this would be an amazing first round of the season to come through and sweep with both drivers on podium, both drivers getting 1st and 2nd. You head off to Interlagos next week in Brazil. That's got to be a good feeling, be leading the points championship and having both cars atop the podium at the end of the first round. I think Barron was really, really strong and is still running lap times that are comparative to the race leaders, but he's not quite close enough to be able to run them down in 17 minutes, I don't think.
No, it's going to be, I think, too much of a test to overcome. I think he's just going to have to settle for the 3rd spot on the podium.
Martin Hansen in the number 7 car has Grglecki behind him, and Fioranti, they're going to get a big slipstream down the back straightaway. And the slipstream, a big factor in this car, not quite so much in the Formula 1 machines, and the FW31 will be running later today. But right now, you see Fioranti way deep. Oh, he's going to get into him! And Grglecki's going to spin around in turn number 5, and it's a collision in the 5th corner.
Is really suffering from that now. I'm trying to see if he has any rear end damage. It looks like he might have gotten away with that, but For Fiorante, this is what we're talking about. Those dives to the inside to turn 5, very dangerous. Unfortunately, went wrong here.
Yeah, just gets into the left rear tire of Ogre. It's going to take me a while to get.
Yeah,
usually, I'm not the bad one
name.
with names. Usually, you're the bad one with names, but you got the cheat sheet in front of you. So
I have the cheat sheet, and I also literally spammed the Google Translate thing to hear the pronunciation. I think about 40 times.
Good to know.
Before we went live.
Well, we
to make
apologize.
sure
We're
that
just dumb Americans. We're just trying to figure out how to do this. We normally do NASCAR lefty-left stuff, so this is a change for us, but we're really enjoying it. Zach Booth has had issues. He's all the way back in 15th place now. Let's see what happened to him. Ran wide at the exit at turn number 8. Nice lazy spin, but he'll get back rolling. Not a good day for Booth.
No, and just after he got that car fixed up, he got the wing damage repair, but it's such an easy mistake to do going wide in turn 6.
Florea's around at the exit of Canada Corner and stuck, it looks like. Fiorante and 17 are still nose to tail, and I'm not sure if they've kind of made up for their differences here. I'm sure that there was an apology sent out, but if not, I'm sure the 17 is a little hot under the helmet right now.
Yeah, we'll see. I actually think it looks like he's crabbing down the straightaway, if I'm not mistaken. If we can ride onboard. Oh yeah, he's definitely got some major suspension damage. He's driving cockeyed.
So the left rear knocked out of formation for the number 17, Pavel Pogretzky. John Watson and Nicholas Shepard side by side into turn number 5. A little bit of dirt, big slide for the 19 on corner exit.
And a fantastic move there, especially when you get that done and don't get any contact with it. However, still not done. Ooh, a little bit sideways. These guys ramping all over the curves to get as much speed as possible.
Battle for 4th here. Again, Watson in the yellow car and Shepard in the red and black one. Way late on the brakes. So was there a touch there into turn number 8? If it wasn't, it was close.
It was mighty close indeed. Now through the carousel, you can see the different lines. These guys taking Shepard taking the apex a little bit early. Watson lining up for a late apex for a great run out of this corner.
We'll stay on board here with Shepard as they run through the kink. Look at the speed, 240 kph all the way out to the track out curve, and now the run down to Canada Corner. Peltomaki Makilla still leading. Team cars out front. Here comes Shepard to the inside. Almost gets in the back of Watson into the braking zone. Watson's going to run wide.
Oh, and he forced him to error, but also even Shepard ran a little bit wide himself. He's still going to keep it on the track. Whereas Watson goes for a spin. I think Shepard was successful in scaring him out of the move.
And here comes Sebastian Jackson, who has had a phenomenal race so far in the number 87 Volante Racing car. 14th to 6th. He might get 5th before this is all said and done. That would be an exceptional drive for the Volante Racing team car. Now up front, Peltomaki and Makilla. Now they are 2/10 apart. I could see them begin to swap a little bit here. Now they might have a bit of room to race. They've got almost an 8-second gap over the next fastest car. There's not really a lot to lose right now by trading spots.
Yeah, there really isn't, but obviously, again, as a team manager, I'm not sure which one of the two is really, I guess, that position, but you never want, as the owner of a team, you never want the teammates to actually fight, because all you see is the drivers finish your cars 1 and 2. You don't care what order they're in. The drivers absolutely care what order they're in, so we'll see here how hard they're going to fight here, if at all, as we get closer and closer to the end of this race.
Peltomaki's led 6 laps of the 9 that we've completed, and a bit of dirt on corner exit of turn 7. Well-executed race so far for the MPH Racing team cars. Frederick Larson again goes around in the 22. Larson, again, a legendary racing team car. The day has been all but legendary. Spin out of turn 14 here.
Yeah, just got loose entering the final corner. You can see him come all the way up to the left side. I think he might have got a little bit of grass as well.
I think he did. And does he catch the barrier? Not quite. Was able to avoid that, but nice livery on that car. The Legendary Racing black and gold. Big fan of that. So he gets back rolling down in 17th place. There's Danny O'Keefe, who is the other Legendary Racing car. He had some trouble early, but has now clawed his way up to 11th after starting in 11th. So it's been about 18 minutes worth of racing so far, and he's gone exactly nowhere, but all the way to the back and has climbed back forward. So a pretty good day, all things considered.
Yeah, and he's trying to now climb his way inside the top 10 if he can get ahead of Graham up ahead in that 35 car. But actually, keep hitting the rev limiter down towards the end of the straightaway, and that's just how much of a draft he got.
It's so easy to do that in this car. It's really not geared all that high, so when you're in the draft of a driver, it's very easy to overstep the bounds of what the gearing will take you here. And it's also, this thing tacks out relatively quick. The fuel cutoff hits pretty quick, so you end up, you hear it in the background, just a little bit of rev limiter hit almost every time drivers make a shift.
He's going to be climbing still. He's going to definitely hit the rev limiter by the end of the straightaway. This is going to be for a few seconds.
Yep.
And right there you can hear just at the end.
Shy of 250 kph. Through turn number 1, right on the tailpipes of one of the Crown Racing cars. And Crown Racing running 11th and 16th, or excuse me, 15th, with Graham and Enzo, those two teammates. And here comes O'Keefe to the inside, or actually I guess that's the outside rather, heading towards turn number 5. Gretzky in pit lane, trying to repair some of that car. You see him weaving, just trying to check the suspension to see if it's repaired, and he'll come back out on the racetrack down in 15th, right in front of Daniel Florea in the 20 car, who started in 15th, has dropped to 16th today. Uh-oh, the 35's gone around. Big damage to the nose of that car in turn number 8. I guess that's actually 5 down there.
Yeah, I'm curious if he got, there's a lot of scattered debris. I'm curious if he had some help with that.
This got loose on corner exit. It's so easy to do there. You just get wide on the curbing, and it's inviting to, because the curbing here, you can sort of drive on it, but it's not very grippy. But he didn't even get there to the outside ones. He just got to the inside and jumped it. And big damage to the nose of that car, ripped the whole front complex of that machine off. Have to drop down and probably repair that car. I don't imagine him driving out there for 10 minutes like that.
No, yeah, it's just too much time. If there was a lap remaining, you want to keep the car out there, but like the way it's damaged like that, you're gonna really suffer, especially missing the entirety of that front wing. You can't stress, how much downforce you need from both wings, really, but especially the front one.
Juho Peltomaki, Makilla, nose to tail in the MPH Racing Team cars, both out of Finland. And I guess there's the old racing saying, if you want to win, get a Finn. And they're showing that right now. Yeah. Down into turn number 5, and a 7.5 second lead over Vincent Olivier Barron, who, to his credit, has stayed relatively on pace with the race leaders. If he was in their draft, he might be a factor, but he's just not quite there.
Yeah, he's going to be kicking himself after this, you got to imagine. Had an easy shot at getting second, even the win. It was growing really strong over that spin, and that big dive he made down into turn 5 at the beginning of the race really cost him dearly. He's going to have to, again, settle for that third spot at the podium, unless their leaders get into each other, which I highly, highly doubt.
Jonathan Diggs for Diggs Motorsports, side by side with Zach Booth through turn number 1. Booth way around the outside, carrying as much speed as possible. And he's actually going to hang on to that spot for now in 11th. Booth out of the CNC Racing camp all by his lonesome today, no teammate.
And he's also another one of those drivers just trying to climb and claw his way back up through the order. Is currently up into 11th after we saw him come to the pits after trying to make repairs to his car.
And the highest running car that has hit pit lane, so all things considered, pretty good day for Zach Booth. So 8.5 minutes to go for the race leaders. They have a 7.7 second gap on Vincent Olivier Barron. The Nicholas Shepard is in 4th. Haven't talked a whole lot about him yet today, but he went from 7th to 4th. Good climb for him. And of course, Watson from 8th to 5th had a good scrap with Shepard for a little while, but has settled into 5th.
If you want to talk about good climbs up the order, you really don't have to look much further than Atish Dabasing in the 10 car from 20th all the way to 9th. In the order, and that's the thing, just by running solid laps and just not making mistakes, as we've seen a lot of the drivers in the back half of the grid do.
It's a team frontline car, and again, I think he's the only frontline car in the race here today. And a nice livery on this vehicle. He heads down into the final corner.
Yeah, it's a Carlin British Formula 4 paint scheme.
Good looking race car. So Atish Dabasing now with 7.5 minutes to go in 9th place. Back up to the race leaders, the MPH Racing Team cars. At what point do you race, or do you think they will race at all? I mean, again, you mentioned which of the driver probably has priority, which I would assume would be Peltomaki, but I mean, it's so early in the season. You think to like Formula One, Mercedes, are they telling are they saying who should win in the early going? I mean, I'm thinking you race it out here a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. They might just be trying to run this single file as much as they can. We might see maybe in the last 2 laps, maybe we'll see Aquila do something. And each team is different the way they operate. You kind of have a little bit of a code. You either fully just stay in the same order, full team orders, just going to stay in that same order until the checkered flag waves, or you might be a little more tongue-in-cheek with it, race it out. Obviously, you want to be respectful, but again, you want to be really careful with this because they can easily, if one makes a mistake, they can take both of them out, and instead of a 1-2 finish, they're going to be way down the order and get no points.
Some lap traffic up ahead, which I believe to be Colin Black in the number 11 car. Colin Black out of Scotland, and JCB Racing Team car. And Martinez Januszkowskis from Lithuania is usually the other team machine, not here this afternoon. Again, we're missing a lot of drivers due to the spot 24. Now up the front straightaway with 6 minutes left to go. Ogoretsky and Daniel Florea, 13th and 14th, beginning a little battle of their own. Oh, he's around! He's looped it!
Oh, no. And a big mistake out of turn 5 is going to put him further down the order, and another spin out of the corner.
Turn 5 has been a trouble spot, and not for the way that I would have expected. I would have thought that turn 5 would have been the trouble spot because of car contact. That has had a few incidents down there. We've also seen a lot of drivers just spinning out and just getting on throttle too early and not being able to catch the car.
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of spins in general, just with guys struggling to get the power back down on these cars. The thing just due to might be due to the setup, really. These guys all running mostly, I would imagine, low downforce setups. We see here another in battle for position.
This is Nicholas Shepard in the 19. He actually had a mistake. I think he spun out on the previous lap. That's brought Fiorante through. He's actually gotten around Shepard, and Shepard's trying to get a spot back from the Wayne Canada Racing car in 6. So I do expect that Shepard will be able to get this back by, but he's right on the tailpipes here as they head down towards turn number 5. He's going to sweep out to driver's left. Not a bunch of a hole there, but he's going to make one, and Fiorante will leave him space.
Yeah, so you're trying to get a little bit of a side draft as well, trying to get some leg up on Fiorante as they're both going to pretty much drag race on equal terms down into turn 5. Who's going to get deeper and later on the brakes?
Shepard going to try to accelerate off, but Fiorante's going to have the long way around and almost clear of Shepard before they hit turn number 6. And Fiorante's through and clear, hangs on for now, but Shepard is not giving this up as they head through 7 now.
He's trying to get another run. Here's another good passing opportunity down into turn 8. He's going to have a little bit of a look. Does he actually go for it? He does not. He gets a solid run off the corner, though. He's going to look to the outside in the carousel.
Going to try to cross him up here on corner exit. Are they going to run side by side through the kink? Would they dare? They're going to try it through the kink, side by side in Formula 3. Way wide goes Fiorante. He's going to have to give that spot up, and Shepard goes through. What a pass there by Nicholas Shepard.
Yeah, Fiorante trying to get a run back down as they head towards Canada corner. Doesn't look like he's going to be close enough just yet.
Great pass there by Shepard. Oh, he's loose. He's going to give a spot back up. And still in the grass. Here comes Fiorante to driver's right. He's in the dirt now. He's going to go off. This is going to hurt. Into the gravel trap. Can he hang on? Oh, man, he's going to loop it and pull back on track. Meanwhile,
he'll lazily meander the car back on track.
Let's check in on Enzo Haiseta. He is back in 14th place, but he actually started in 16th, had an issue on the first corner. Remember, he was the driver that spun out down in turn number 1. He has quietly clawed his way back through the field. Did come to pit lane to either get tires, fuel, or fix some damage. He does have Pavel Ogoretsky behind him about to go by, but a good fight for Enzo Haiseta. Meanwhile, Jonathan Diggs, he has found his way into the tire barrier. I believe that's over in Canada corner. Let's have a look. Diggs Motorsport into Canada corner. Just got late on the brakes, locked it up, and buried it in the tire barrier.
Yeah, that's a really empty feeling. Just you hit the brakes, you hope the car can slow down, and just went into the tire barrier and damaged the car. So he's unfortunately got to retire early back in 19th. And again, we still have a lot of cars running. Of the 21 starters, we have 18 guys still running around the track, and all of them actually on the lead lap, which does make sense considering how long the lap is.
Ogoretsky going to try to come back on Haiseta here down into turn number 1, out to driver's right. Going to try to be later on the brakes, and you can get so daring with these cars into the braking zones. They really accept a lot of abuse. You just have to be careful not to lock up, because once you lock, as we saw with Jonathan Diggs, it's very difficult to unlock the tires. You can find yourself in a situation where you're running out wide.
Speaking of which, Ogoretsky did that just a little bit there as he's trying to get on Haiseta, trying to get past him for 12th.
Speed's climbing well north of 240 Ks. And a nice big slipstream for the 17 into the braking zone for turn number 5. go to turn 6, looking out to driver's left. This is just a distract Isetta here into turn. You see what it did? It made Isetta think twice before turning in, and that distraction is really all you need to be able to make a pass there to the inside.
Yeah, we saw that happen earlier in the race. I forgot who it was exactly that made the move, but scared the driver out of position and made the pass happen.
A minute and 30 to go. This time through, it'll be 2 laps left. The leaders have already taken 2 to go, so next time by it'll be white flag for the race leaders. Gretzky all over Isetta through the kink. He's a little offset to the left, and you can do that in this car because of all the downforce you have. Usually you have to arc it in pretty wide, but now for 12th place, Isetta and Gretzky side by side towards Canada corner.
Whoa,
he's
way
wide.
Too deep on the brakes. He's going to go flying off the track. Does he keep it out of the barrier? He does not. Hits the tire barriers.
Oh, you see the left front. Looks like it's reapplied itself, but he's already pitted for damage earlier this race, so Gretzky in a little too deep, and that seems like such a fine line between being aggressive enough to make the pass and overstepping the boundaries a little bit too much. So for the race leaders, as you see them head down and through Kettle Bottoms into Canada corner, Barron has been closing in slightly, but it's still way too far back. It's going to be one of the team cars for MPH Racing, Peltomaki and McKilla. And I would have to imagine that they're going to just play nice and finish 1-2 like this.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that is, because obviously we can assume that they're going to do one thing and they can do the next lap the completely opposite things. We'll see here as these guys come up and over the hill. It's barely going to be the white flag as they get to the line. We'll see, does McKilla turn up the notch here, try to fight his teammate for the win? I mean, P1 is P1. You're not going to get a second chance at it. We'll see here if he does anything.
Final lap here at Road America, the National Park of Speed. We've seen Formula 3 fights all afternoon long as we head down into turn number 1. McKilla and Peltomaki from MPH Racing have been the dominant cars of the day so far. No challengers other than Barron, who took himself out of the event earlier. Gretzky around again in turn number 5. Another spin for the 17 car from, looks like SYM Racing. So, again, issues for the 17. It's just all by himself, too.
Yeah, this race has gone from bad to worse for him, unfortunately. So hopefully, I think he's going to hope that Brazil goes a little bit better about a round out of turn 5. That's claimed so many drivers here.
Now back up to MPH Racing. Half a lap remaining in the first round of the Formula I F3 Championship. We're going to visit a bunch of different countries all over the world. And the 2 Finns up front right now, not in their home facility, but they are making a show out of it, and they're going to put the stake in the ground with the Finnish flag and say, this is ours. And the Finnish flag today will be a checkered one if they can get back to the stripe without incident.
Yeah, here we'll see. This is McKilla's last real passing opportunity coming up here if he can get a run down this max rate. These guys have played it nice all race long, but it could go out the window here.
Through the kink. McKilla building up speed here, and not sure if he's going to try to fight or if they're just going to run nose to tail. I'd have to imagine here, Finian, that they are going to stay very nicely in line. Into the braking zone for Canada corner for the final time. Trouble behind him. Fiorante's had an issue. So has Zach Booth in the number 2. We'll check on that here in a little bit. For the race leaders, from the front row to sweep this race, they had one challenger who was not able to take the fight to the Finns. For the entire race, he made a mistake in 5 and left the Finns to take home victory in the first round of the 2020 Formula I F3 Championship. Peltomaki and McKilla going to sweep the top row here and sweep the first 2 steps on the podium and the MPH Racing team cars. Vincent Olivier Barron going to be a bit of a disappointing bottom step of the podium for him. Enzo Haiseta, he is stopped. Is he out of fuel?
Oh no, and that would have been a big mistake if he did.
I think he did. He's stopped and pulled off the racetrack. Fiorante in the 102. He has also had an issue. Doesn't look like any damage, so it might have been a self spin. The same thing happened to Zach Booth. He called it quits before the checkered as well. Martin Hansen's gone around in turn number 12. And he's going to drop down the order. He was up solidly inside the top 10, and he's going to pull off. Is he out of fuel?
Yeah, I think he's out of fuel as well. A lot of guys cutting it way too close on fuel.
That's something that they're going to learn for next week. Danny O'Keefe going to head up the hill. He's going to grab, it looks like, 8th spot.
And the ironic thing about running out of fuel, Brandon Fiorante, he actually asked before gridding, which is not really a question you want to ask while you're gridding for the race. He asked how much fuel do you need? And I think, again, you always want to you want to overfuel the car rather than underfuel, because it's going to really cause cost you dearly here in the closing stages of the race. So multiple drivers running out of fuel, finishing down the order.
That's a really frustrating end of the day for a lot of drivers. Frederick Larson, who had a troubled day in the Legendary Racing team car. Legendary Racing as a whole ended up finishing, it looks like, in 10th and 8th. So both of them going to record top 10 finishes. But again, your podium finishers, Peltomaki, Makilla, and Barron. See Larson come across the start-finish line. Here is a look at your race results. And pretty split through the teams. We really see just the MPH Racing cars as the top drivers. And Barron, again, all by his lonesome. No teammate today on his team.
Yeah, I'm curious to see the Fukumuna Racing guys. They looked really strong, just either not the luck or just making too many mistakes, but they definitely look to be solid contenders with MPH Racing coming out of this first round.
Yeah, my mistake there. Martin Hansen is a teammate to Barron, but finished down in 15th spot. So, and Martin Hansen did have a good run going, was not able to complete the race in the fashion that he wanted.
I think he was set to finish 6th or 7th, so it was looking to be a pretty solid finish for the team. But yeah, again, the short fueling of the car caught a lot of the drivers off guard.
See, Nathan Foe with the early issues ended up this race 14 laps down, 3 laps in. So with that, that is going to be the completion of our first event this afternoon. Stay tuned and hang tight for the Formula One qualifying session. I have heard that there was a mistake with the session configuration and that the first qualifying session has already happened. But Q2 and Q3 will be coming up here in just a few minutes. It is on a different link, so if you head to youtube.com/SYM TV Broadcasting, you will have access to the Formula One link. We'll be live there in just a few minutes for the Formula One United States Grand Prix for Formula I. Stick with us. We'll be back in a few minutes. We'll see you there in F1.